my most watched. So at the beginning of the year, I made a liminal space video with a camcorder that I had wanted forever. I thought that the resolution and the age of the camera just kind of lent itself to the subject matter. And a month later, it was my most watched video. Now, I've always shot liminal spaces, I just never knew there was a name for it or a community behind it. Now, if you don't know what liminal space is, or you didn't watch the previous video linked above, then liminal space is a transitionary space. Places that feel uneasy or nostalgic, or empty parking garages at night, or empty hallways kind of like this. I love capturing places that look abandoned, they look empty, like someone got up one day and just never came back. They have this sense of unease and uncomfortable, but they have also a sense of familiarity, like you've been there before. Now, I kind of want to show you how I go about taking photos and videos of liminal spaces, little tips on the equipment I use down to the lighting and the framing of certain shots. So in my first video, I used a early 2000s Canon GL2 for video and my Sony a7R5 for photo. Now, the reason I chose the camcorder was because these spaces already give you that nostalgic feeling, and I feel like the camcorder kind of brings you more deeper into that feeling, into that experience. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid and I had my parents' camcorder and, you know, lugging that thing around and taking all that grainy, shaky footage. Now, even though I got all that footage on the camcorder, I still wish I had used a newer camera that was 4K, like my a7S III. You know, when you shoot on a camcorder, that's it. There's no editing in post. When you shoot in a camcorder, you shoot in what, 480p, it's grainy. There's really nothing you can do after the fact to color it. I wanted to have that flexibility shooting 4K so I could tweak it in post and make it look exactly as I wanted to. But anyone that uses Premiere knows how much of a pain in the ass it is just to apply halation or bloom to your footage. It takes multiple adjustment layers and it just kind of bogs your computer down. There's no good way of doing it. So I was doing a little research and I came across this software that plugs into Premiere or DaVinci or kind of whatever program you use to edit, and it's called Dehancer. It gives you that film stock, film emulation look that kind of everyone is going for at this point, and they make it so easy. There are so many different film stocks and variables that you have so many options now in post to give you the look that you want. So full disclosure, I did talk to the people at Dehancer and they did hook me up with a month free trial just to kind of see what it could really do. Now, they're not sponsoring this video. They don't have a say in what I say in this video, and they're not going to see the video before it comes out. But I am really appreciative of everyone at Dehancer for giving me the chance to try it out, see how I liked it. So this is the part where I say that everything that you've seen and everything that you will see has had Dehancer applied to it. I really can't say enough good things about it. If I had to pick one negative thing to say about the program, would be playback is a little jittery and kind of bogs down when you're just trying to play it back. Now, that's probably my problem only because I have an ancient MacBook that's 3 years old. So like I said, newer MacBook, you're probably not going to get the same lag and jitteriness on playback that I had. Is that even really a problem? Like, we deal with much stupider things in Premiere Pro. I mean, you understand. So now that I'm not using my camcorder and I'm using my a7S III for video, I decided to switch it up completely and go with my Fujifilm X100V for the photos. Now, with my a7R5, you can kind of just spray and pray, you know, take a whole bunch of photos really quick and kind of pick the ones that came out the best. With the Fujifilm, you kind of have to slow down a little bit. It can't be as quick. You have to be more intentional with your shots. You have to frame them properly and make sure your settings are correct. I really wanted to slow down that process and really take better photos and be more intentional about how I shot. So I also use a film recipe on my X100V that I've been tweaking and trying to make perfect. So all the photos that you see have come straight from camera. I do very minimal editing, maybe straightening horizons or lines and cropping in if need be. But for the most part, it's raw, straight out of the camera. So when it comes to how I frame my shots, I really strive for that Wes Anderson look. Now, while it doesn't always translate into liminal spaces and I don't always follow that rule, I usually like to have balance in my photos, you know, subject centered, lines straight. I usually keep my camera on a tripod for these shots, or I handhold for video, and I try to keep myself as still as possible, which never works because I am so shaky all the time that all my footage comes out terribly shaky, but we try. On my most recent trip out to take photos, I completely abandoned that whole Wes Anderson vibe look that I usually strive for, and I shot completely differently, and I'm still happy with how all the photos came out. Now, as far as lighting, you kind of have to take what you can get when shooting liminal spaces or abandoned spaces. You're usually inside and it's dark, it's moody, it's gross. There's broken windows, there's boards over windows, so you really have to take what you can get, look for that natural light source, and shoot what you can. I usually don't bring any external lighting with me, just too much, too bulky, but I guess if you wanted to light these places, you could, but I try to go for that natural, more edgy, not even edgy. I like to go for that more gritty look that's not lit perfectly, that's lit terribly through broken windows and holes in roofs and things like that. So even if you don't shoot liminal spaces, a lot of these things can be translated into all other forms of photography. Composition, lighting, paying attention to mood. These can all be used in different aspects of photography. And, you know, just taking time in these places to get that perfect shot, to, you know, really pay attention to the lighting and what you're shooting is really the most important part, and just knowing your camera. So thanks as always for tuning in. I kind of want to bring more content like this to you, a little bit more educational, a little bit more tutorial based, kind of showing you my process on how I shoot photos or shoot video. And if you did like Dehancer and what it did to my footage, I would strongly urge you to go and download at least a free trial. Download the free trial of Dehancer and see how you like it. I really can't say enough good things about Dehancer. It's one of the best plugins I have ever used for Premiere. And after that little trial, if you do want to purchase it, the full program, make sure to use my code WINCHEL10 right here, WINCHEL10 at checkout, and you'll get 10% off your purchase of Dehancer. So until next time, I don't have a tagline yet. Keep shooting, have fun, either of those.